Hey guys, Goldie here. Thanks for checking out my YouTube video. So I'm doing the review finally on the book I got. I showed on a little haul. I think it was last week or the week before. Celebrating Ourselves, a Crone Ritual book. And this is edited by Edna M. Ward, illustrated by Sylvia Sims. It was put together by the feminist spiritual community of Portland, Maine, and I looked into it, and unfortunately it looks like they closed about 2006 was the last info I could find online, which is too bad because I really enjoyed reading this book and I was hoping that they had put out more, but it looks like this is it. So this was copyright 1992. But they say that it all started in 1980, and so the group started out just as a group for like-minded women to get together and share experiences, stories. Just they would have little celebrations, and then also vent on things that were going on in their lives at the time. And when some of their members went into, started making the journey into cronehood, particularly this one artist named Gina Kelly designed the ritual, and she also designed this kind of gateway into cronehood. That they explain more in the book about, and put all this together. I don't know, it was really, really great hearing what they did, the reasons why they decided to choose celebrating the journey into cronehood, and really, I mean, a part of reading this book was a little bittersweet too, because I don't, in my community, I mean, I'm sure that there is stuff kind of going on like this, but like spiritual communities that are very enriching to women in all stages of life, and I just haven't found anything like that. And so reading this book, even though it was wonderful reading about their experiences and their community, it also had me wishing that there was something like that here that I was a part of. But it is what it is, and didn't make me not like the book. So I'm going to read the back. It says, "This powerful crone ritual has evolved over 10 years of honoring women's passages into old age. Developed in the feminist spiritual community of Portland, Maine, it is a moving celebration of the passage. Special features of the ritual include its honoring of the decades of our lives, its movement from sober preparation to joyful celebration, and its use of distinctive symbols. In addition to the ritual itself, Celebrating Ourselves includes further resources for exploring aging, ageism, and the lives of old women." So in the book, they say that for the women in their group to go through the ceremony, you had to be age 55 and going through menopause. So, I mean, they said that it's also one thing I really liked about this book is that they reiterate over and over again, this is what we chose. It may not be for everybody, They go into detail about where the people in their group come from, some of their backgrounds, and they understand and express that not everybody comes from the same background. So this isn't like a blanket ritual for everybody. Some people of different ethnicities and backgrounds, this might not jive with them, So I really like that. I like that they do have that message of each to their own. And they encourage people to build on this, make it your own. Start your own group and celebrate not just the passage of going into cronehood, but all these different passages of life that we experience too often alone. And so here, and the reason why I like how they explain the reason why they chose, it's 56 and menopause, because they follow the Z Budapest astrological calculation that by that age, Saturn, the teaching planet, has returned twice to a woman. Now, I don't know much about astrology. There are lots of people that understand exactly what that means, but I think that's really cool that they at least mention why they chose that. So the group is relatively small. It started out like about 20 women. They say that it goes anywhere from about 20 women to 50 or 60, and that when they were doing these crone rituals, that like the entire community would show up, and the women going through the rituals would bring their daughters and help them or participate in the ritual and gain that experience so that they could learn about it and pass it on and do it later on. And I thought that was really cool to bring their families and get them involved, and the community, and people came from all over, like the Northeast apparently. So some of their backgrounds, they say it's diverse ethnic backgrounds, but they did say the majority of them are Caucasian, one African American woman, and most of them are middle class to working class. So, and then broad ranges of spirituality, and she says, we are eclectic spiritually and theologically, including church members, witches, and nature mystics among those that categorize are not mutually exclusive ones. So, and all sorts of self-identifying people, from straight, bisexual, trans, lesbian, and so on. So, yeah, I really like that they lay out like who is behind this group, So to get into it more, there's a couple little things little passages I wanted to read out of here that I really liked. So there's a little part called the significance of the crone ritual, and it says, I'm just going to read this one little part, I'm not going to read the whole thing. A crone ritual evening is one of high joyful energy and visual beauty. Preparation for the ceremony and the ritual itself are celebrate and elaborate and detailed. It attracts a large group and has become one of the most significant rituals of the community. Its importance suggests to us that it has responded to a profound spiritual, personal, political emptiness in this society. So, I agree with them completely. I think there is it is missing from our society very much. And unfortunately, with like this like oppressive ageism that we have in our society, in our culture, is that, you know, a woman is good until she hits menopause, pretty much. I mean, not even then. I feel like, depending on who's talking, I mean, pretty much like a woman's worth is determined by her youth and beauty, and by, you know, what, age 30, many people consider us older now, and then, you know, go past that, it just gets worse and worse. My mom is a hairstylist, and, you know, she's just turned 60, and she's been working in a very trendy salon for the past few years, and I've had discussion with her about ageism, because the people, not really the people that she works with so much as, I mean, they think she's like the cool mom of the salon or whatever, but the customers, because the median range of age in the salon is probably, I would say, like 28, early 30s, you know, would probably be the majority of the people who work there. And she's like literally been told, like, what are you doing here? You know, why do you work here? And referring to her age. And you know, it really hurt her sometimes. And, you know, she has usefulness and sight. Yeah, I mean, she's not even talking about looks. I mean, she looks great, but you know, not like that matters. But I'm just saying, like, her energy is just like insane. I mean, she has more energy than I do sometimes, and it's really sad and really hurtful to see how people react to her being in a salon that, you know, it's, you know, very punk rock and you know, has this rock and roll atmosphere, and according to some of the clients there, she shouldn't be working there because she's not 30 or in her 20s, and that's really shitty, you know. It's and you know, I'm sure lots of people have different stories, you know, and all sorts of situations that have to deal with that. But yeah, I mean, I really think that we should celebrate, you know, that coming of age, you know. I mean, all of these different comings of ages that we go through, but especially as we get to be older, you know, if you're judging by what's considered old, like 56 and up, which I don't, but I mean, I still think that's young. I would consider, I mean, I understand the whole menopause thing, you know, counting that or whatever, but people go into menopause at all different ages. I mean, and for health reasons or just how bodies are. And so I don't really think 56 is an old woman, you know. It's like, I would think maybe like 70s or some, you know, I would consider that starting to be an old woman. But I think 56 is a bit young to be considered an old woman. But yeah, I mean, I really think that we should take notes from this community that about celebrating, you know, what we've learned and experienced and survived through our years, and come together as a community to celebrate that, you know, not just it being like an internal thing, like, oh well, you know, this like you know, it's important to have that self-love and be like, well, I'm okay with this, and like screw what the rest of society says. But it would be amazing if we could come together as a culture, as a society, and embrace all the women going into the stage of life. And I think also, I mean, I think it should be like equally for men and for women. You know, there's a lot of stigma. I mean, I think women go through a lot more with it. Because, I mean, like with phrases like, men age like a fine wine, and like women don't. I forget. That's not the phrase, but it's just like things I've heard in my lifetime. It's like, oh, distinguished with age and we get wrinkly, and you know, anyway. So further on they go into just like a bit more detail of what they do, their community, reasons why you should have a ritual. So, and then here's like the beginning of just a quick synopsis of the ritual itself. Don't think so. And there's like a cool little picture, little drawing. And they go into a lot of detail in here about their ritual space and how they set it up. And they have their ritual space all the time. That's just how they meet up there, which I think is really cool. You know, they have their altar centerpiece, and everyone, you know, depending on their ability, will either sit on the floor or a cushion, or like even a stool or something if you can't get on the floor. But yeah, so I'll just read this little part of the ritual. In the community, the crone ritual continues to change and evolve, which I think that's great, because nothing should be stagnant. And they also mention in here that each ritual is tweaked for each individual person. So there's not one ritual for everybody. It's like they have kind of like a layout, a template for the ritual, but it's not something that they stick to with each person. Of the many we have held, not to have been exactly the same. What follows is simply the most recent version. The objects we use and the outline of the ceremony are listed first, and then described more in detail in the following pages. So I'll just do the bullet points. Enfolding, welcoming one another. Birth canal, dancing through a gate or arches into a new way of life. Lighting of candles, remembering and honoring women near and far. Naming circle, casting our circle, preparation for ceremony, exploring the treatment of old women in the dominant society. Who is a crone? Why celebrate her? Introducing the ritual occasion. Guided meditation. Then parts of the meditation. Decades, sharing the pain, violent struggles, and joys of each decade of our lives. Crone circle. Crones share their stories. Giving of gifts. Giving stoles and crystals and other gifts to new crones. And they personalize this for each person. And the colors and crystals and stones that they use are picked out for each individual, which I think is great. Dancing, crones lead the community in drumming and chanting and dancing. And what's great about this ritual is that a previous crone who's gone through the ritual already then guides the next crone. So it's like, you know, it's like a tender a tender guide. I don't know. I really like that. Your friend saying like, welcome to the club. Feasting, sharing bread and juice, singing, making a joyful noise, benediction, opening the circle out to the world. And so they meet, or when they were together, they met every first Monday. And so they also say in here that a lot of these bullet points were done every Monday, and then certain ones were done just for the crone ritual. So, and then I really like that they go into explaining like what was on their altar, how they set it up, what colors they used, what candles, flowers, the type of food that they used. And then they go into a lot of detail. Yeah, here's how they set up some of their candles. So this is how they went about the room. So this is their main area to sit down. Their altar is here, and then they would sit around it. And then this is like when they talk about all the dancing and the birthing canal. That's how they do that. And then they go into a lot. I mean, they just go into a lot of detail, and that's, I mean, I love it. It's just, I'm not gonna go and read, this video's already getting long, but it's just a really great book. So yeah. So, at the end of this, they put together, which I just love, is that, you know, it's like little witchiness going on in here. Where is it? Sorry. They talk a lot about ageism in here. I mean, the ritual part doesn't take up, maybe takes up half the book, and then the rest is talking about ageism. Okay, well, I can't find it. Alright, well, never mind. I guess I will not. Forget it. So yeah, anyway, Yeah, so this book was really great. And the good news is I did a little research and Amazon has it. It's not the cheapest book on there. I think it was in between $20 or $30. But I mean, it's a great little book for your collection. You know, especially if you're interested in starting up some sort of crone ritual and need like a jumping off point. This is really beautiful how they laid everything out. And you know, the book's sole purpose obviously was to, you know, put out the intention out into the world, you know, and because, you know, 36 years later, you know, I'm able to find this book at a thrift store and share it with you guys. And who knows if a lot of these women who went into cronehood are still alive. But, you know, they get to share their journey and how they celebrated with us. And that's a really amazing, special thing. So, I definitely recommend it. I think you'll really enjoy it, and something to just, you know, to build on and check out yourself. So, well, thanks for checking out my video, and I'll have links in the down bar I'll link up where I found it on Amazon and any other helpful links. So you'll have a great day.